And good afternoon, influencers. We are here today with our weekly webinar, and we have some really interesting things to cover and an extremely interesting guest. Our guest today is Mike Hayes, and in fact, just a little history on him that he will tell you a little bit about, as a matter of fact. Mike is actually a two-time Peabody Award winner through NBC in New York through several years of working with the networks when there were only a few, but great experiences along the way. He also owns his own agency, public relations. He has a network of, he's a radio host on a large network and develops programs for chambers and for business groups. Uh, he's an all around guy that is an idea and an innovator along with it. I think that you'll appreciate some of the tips and some of the ideas that he's going to bring to you. So at this point in time, I'd like to introduce Mike Hayes, and we'll just get into some of those stories right now. Here's Mike Hayes.
Hey, very good. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Mary, Scott, and Peter, and everybody watching the replay. Happy to be here. I've got a long, rich experience in really every part of broadcasting, I think, on the face of the earth. I love broadcasting. I started when I was about 16 in Michigan, went on to NBC in New York. I covered the content side at NBC. And then after I left there, after 10 years, I went to CNN. And one of my mentors at NBC, Chris, had taught me, look, kid, anything you want to do in life, pitch a show on that. It's shark fishing, pitch them on a show on doing shark fishing. Well, I didn't want to shark fish, but I wanted to interview the most successful entrepreneurs in America. And so I pitched CNN on letting me do that. And I started by interviewing Steve Wozniak at his home and at Apple. Because, you know, when you're with CNN, you can get almost anybody. And then I interviewed hundreds of the most successful entrepreneurs in America about how they became successful. So I was really on the cutting edge of the whole success movement. In fact, when I interviewed Dick Clark and we ran an ad for it in TV Guide, he said, well, Mike, it sounds like you're selling success. I mean, that's how new it was. People didn't even get the concept that you could kind of package the details of how to become successful. So I've been at this for so long, and then I spent about 20 years in the TV infomercial industry on the advertising side of broadcasting, and started my own agency, ran that for about 20 years. So it's been a rocket ride, you know, of a career. It's been a lot of fun, amazing education.
You know, just for a little storytelling, tell us a story or two about your life in New York and NBC.
Well, it was so funny because I actually hitchhiked from a farm in Michigan to NBC because I just wanted to work there. It's been my life passion. I walked in and I applied for a job, and the gal says, well, we don't have any jobs. I said, well, I hitchhiked all the way here from Michigan. Could I at least fill in an application? She slides it through. I fill it in, slide it back. I start to walk out the door, and she says, hey. I turn around. She goes, you graduated from Eastern Michigan? I said, yeah. She says, I graduated from Eastern Michigan. Come back in here. So, you know, I learned then by taking action, you can just change, you know, everything, the velocity of your life. So it was harder to become an NBC page than get into Harvard. And talk about a life changer. It was just a life-changing experience. It was like a $5 million education. And, you know, the people I worked with, the best in the business, smart, but they mentored me. They taught me, you know, and they were very generous. They taught me storytelling, and that's how we won my team. I was a member of the Directors Guild of America, won 2 Peabody Awards, but it was a team effort. But that's what broadcasting is. That's how it works. And go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, do you still have your radio? Are you still on radio? Is that something that...
Yes, I do. I started a radio syndication company about 30 years ago. It's we have 9 studios at 300 Broadway in San Francisco. And so what I do is anytime I want to do a feature story, I just do it and they'll play it for me. And it runs on about 500 stations, has a weekly audience of the syndication does of about 5 million. It's on Armed Forces Radio, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox. So, anytime I get a story idea, want to do it, I've got an instant distribution channel for it.
So it's all. These are story ideas. These aren't sales types of programs that you give to them to broadcast.
Well, they're kind of, I look at them as advertorials or mini infomercials because I'm always telling stories, but, I do calls to action in them, because that's what it's all about. That's what direct response is all about. And I'll share more about that when I start to share some of the slides. But to get back to a couple more stories, we were talking, you want me to tell about a couple of quick
sure. Absolutely.
stories?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was staff. That was beautiful because when you're staff, you just did everything they told you to do. You show up in a studio, go here, go there, whatever. So I spent a lot of time with NBC Sports. In fact, I was on the road about 45 weeks a year, in my 20s, traveling all over the country and all over the world. And like I said to Chris, I never made a better gassed car because we never stayed in town long enough, for the car to run out of gas. So I never gassed it, just Hertz rental and move on to the next town, almost like a rock and roll tour. And unfortunately for me, I guess good and bad because I did beat it, but every sports press room had a full open bar all day long, every day, and you're in your 20s, okay, and you're working in the press room with all of these world-class writers, from New York Times and LA Times or whatever. You have a cocktail from time to time, and but luckily I was smart enough to go, that's not gonna lead to a good place. So you had to have some self-control, but everything was open. I got to play Augusta National on press day. After we covered the Masters, because we covered the news side of it. So even if CBS had the rights, we still covered it as news. I played tennis with Billie Jean King. I mean, just amazing experiences. So many. I think my brain is just overwhelmed by them all. They're just up there somewhere floating around.
Fascinating life up through and until. How did you then begin in an entrepreneurial role?
Well, from that interview process of interviewing all these wonderful entrepreneurs, I caught the bug, and I wanted to start my own company. I was so motivated by them that I wanted to make the media that I knew inside out accessible and affordable to the small and medium-sized profit-oriented business. And that's still the track. I've been on that track since then, and I'm still on it today.
Very good. Okay. Now, as you have developed these various processes, I know that some of them will fit and do fit in to what we do. So why don't you show us a little bit of that?
Okay. Can I share some slides?
Please do. Go right ahead.
Okay. Great. I think this will help me tell the story for marketers. I love marketers. I just for you marketers, I covered 1 to 3 media marketing trade shows every month for 15 years. And in that, I became known as the network king because I knew I couldn't learn everything. I mean, we studied 30 different ways to the marketplace. That some of them don't even exist anymore, from infomercials to credit card syndication. So I made it my business to know the top people in the industry, and that's always been my philosophy, is know the best people in the industry. So I think if I have one message that I'm trying to deliver today, it's about the Free Public Relations Club for small businesses and nonprofits. It's right here. It's open to anybody who's on this call. You can just go right here, register for free. And we're going to kind of be talking about this and some other things about PR video news releases, Google My Business, because now I'm all about local. This is when I was right here judging presentations in the $350 billion infomercial industry, or electronic retailing industry, as it's called. And so that is where I kind of fine tune my storytelling to make it not just documentary, but to sell. And so here's a quick progression. This is a $350 billion industry, all about calls to action. And I had one client who came to me as a miserable failure, and he spent $100,000 not once but twice trying to market his product. He asked me if I could help. I looked at it. I could see he was minimizing the value of his product. And by changing the words of his offer, we took it from miserable failure to $200 million in sales of the exact same product, starting from scratch. So now what's happened is I'll call it the call to action industry, okay? And storytelling weekly. And I'll tell you why I call it that. But here I am speaking, this is me here, speaking to a group of both online and in person, couple hundred venture capitalists and inventors and entrepreneurs and startups in Silicon Valley. I'll just give you a quick background so you know when I talk where I'm coming from with my experience. And this came about as a result of a connection from the Chamber of Commerce. So, it's all about networking. And then the other way I used the Chamber locally was Fiverr.com, which is, everybody probably knows who they are. But anyway, they're a marketplace for the gig economy. And they asked me to help them grow a audience here in the Bay Area of freelance workers. So I took on the gig, and I worked with this guy a lot. And we spoke at chambers, we spoke at universities, we did public relations. I helped him grow a group of 10,000 members in the Bay Area, and they gave me a very, very nice video testimonial for doing that. This is the radio syndication company that I helped start about 30 years ago, and is still running strong today. I am very focused on storytelling from both my past and present, and I focus on really understanding, positive storytelling and negative storytelling. Storytelling is storytelling. It's what you make of it. And there are certain key components in every story, just as there's DNA of growth in an acorn. And if it got, let's say this was your story, but let's say your story had a worm in it, and it affected the DNA, or it didn't fall in the right place. It fell on mud or instead of cement or someplace, or drowned, or whatever happened. But what you want to do is make sure that your story has the DNA of growth inside it to survive and thrive, to really reach the full potential. And the DNA that I'm talking about is digital networking in action. And this is how we grow large audiences, 10,000 for Fiverr. I have 50,000 Chamber of Commerce member reach. We have about 200,000 meetup members, 5 million reach in my radio show. And I am the lead organizer of a meetup group that Meetup started called the Meetup Organizer Network. And we also, I don't want to overwhelm people with too much information, so I'm going to stop and ask who has questions, because I think there's a real huge opportunity right here, guys, with Grow with Google. And I'll tell you why I think this is huge for marketers. I also believe in the marriage of online networking and offline meetings, and how those two can combine. So I've kind of gone on and on here, so let me stop and see if you have any reaction or questions. Anybody?
Well, Mike, most importantly here, hey, you've shown us a lot of slides, but you haven't dug deep anywhere. So let's dig down deep into uh, some of these topics and tell us how they work, how they can work for those who want to use them to help not only their business but their chamber, whether it be storytelling or your coffee shop networking. But let's have some deep dives here.
Sure. I want to give you a quick overview first, but here's, to me, the big opportunity. If you are a chamber member, marketer, whatever, that Google My Business, I don't know if you guys have seen the TV ads, Grow with Google, but if it's google.com/grow. You go there, and there's two things. There are the tools, all of the G Suite of tools, but there's also the partner program. And I applied to the partner program through my Chamber of Commerce. Now, to me, one of the real opportunities is right here on Google, Grow with Google, because what Google, the agreement with Google is that if you upload a lot of content on an ongoing basis, like every week minimum, maybe 2 or 3 times, then you will get good search result listing for your Google My Business listing. So what that does for marketers is that means that people need to either buy Google Ads or upload content on a regular basis, weekly, to keep that Google ranking. Well, since you have to upload it weekly, that means that there is a need for content marketing, advice, graphics, videos, whatever. So that's a big part of it, to really concentrate. I look at it as almost like the new direct response industry. DR was call to action. So your story, the content of your story, and I'm a big believer in classic storytelling, because that's how human beings have gotten information since Aristotle wrote Poetics. Movies, everything else, it's all about the story. So I've broken down the story, because if you don't have the right story to start with, it doesn't matter how it's delivered. It doesn't make anybody buy anything. It just tells them about something. So you have to have the right story first. That's number one. Then once you have the story right, you've got to deliver it in the right way to the right people. That's number two. Because if they get the story, it's not good, nothing happens. You got have a great story, and they can't see it, nothing happens. So you got to have those two things. You want to have something that is credible, and that's why I like Google My Business. So your story has to have a call to action. 2, actually. One is a direct call to action, and the other one is called a transitional call to action. And I'm going to talk about the free conference call or free public relations club you can join. I will send you guys this template if you join the call or the club, brother. So,
Okay.
So that's one thing, is storytelling, and I call it. I've broken it up into this way. There's the story, there's the telling on video, and then there's the weekly, which means you have to have a way that you can do it quickly, because the old lights, camera, action days, videos, you can't produce those fast enough to keep up with social media. So that's why I think Google My Business is a key to get the listing and to be able to help people to keep it. And I think for marketers, it's very, very important. So if you are a chamber member, you can do what I did. You can say to the chamber, look, I've got to be a nonprofit for Google to give me all of this free stuff, all of these free content, materials, training materials, everything. And so I signed up through my chamber. They made me the partner for my chamber. I couldn't have gotten this without my chamber and their nonprofit status. They made me the partner trainer. And so now I realized that it takes time to teach this stuff. And so I needed to have an ongoing situation where I could really help people understand we're in a whole new digital economy. And with all of the online noise, it's gotten more difficult to get people to listen to your message than it's ever been before. So you have to really understand storytelling and how to get good Google ranking. And once you've got the story, then you have to know how to capture it quickly. And today, I recommend digital screen capture video. A lot of top authors are using it. And it's just a good way to stay current. So I started the free club to teach people all the different parts of it, not just one. I wanted to take a holistic approach. So I can drill down into the overview, but honestly, there's so many different component parts that I really wanted to take an approach of giving people the bigger picture and then let them decide. Because if you have the right story and the right video, you can use it for Google My Business, for LinkedIn, for Meetup, for you can drop it into Facebook groups, you can email it out, nothing, and then you can meet people in person either at the chamber or coffee shop, local networking, and that's where we kind of focus on helping people create a whole community. Because our approach is that if we have a community of people who are gathered around, and instead of being competitors, are collaborators, think of what good we can do our city, our Google My Listing business, if we collaborate on reviews and, links, backlinking. So there's a lot that can be done because storytelling today, things are changing so fast. You really have to be handle dynamic change. And that's one thing that I try to focus on, help people understand there's no one answer to thing. I believe in PR. We've got local media that are covering our coffee shop networking meetings. I have started a group that I'm going to invite you guys to join on LinkedIn called Grow with Google, so we can learn on an ongoing basis about all kinds of new approaches, like Capital One in Walnut Creek. They've invited us to do.
Mike,
Yeah.
You're going through these things, but you aren't explaining how they get done. See, for example, you're talking about putting videos up. Now, there's all kinds of fancy software out there, but how does one go ahead and do the video? We understand putting them up on Google My Business helps the SEO and everything else for that particular business, or whether it be a chamber of commerce, but how do you do it?
Well, you can use a software like Loom very easily. That's the one I prefer. I use Loom and Zoom, and I use desktop video. Those are pretty simple, but that's really why I started the public relations club, because I have so many different component parts of it. I can't really teach just one thing and think that I really did a good job. I teach those things for free. Can I accomplish all of that here in one meeting? No, I wasn't prepared for that. I thought you really wanted an overview, Chris. I apologize if I didn't really get that you wanted me to take one subject and just really drill.
No, just in each of these topics, drill down into the video side, and then as you went into the coffee shop, the trend. Dig down into that. What's the advantage to that, and how can it work with the chambers?
Well, I run a site for my chamber that they gave me to run. It's called La Marinda Presents. It's for all the nonprofits. So I teach the nonprofits, here it is, how to, I post on this for all the nonprofits for free. So basically, we had a meeting, and we're in the chamber board. It was jammed. I mean, there are like 20, 30 people. And I'm in a meetup group with 150,000 members. And I can tell you one of the biggest problems is finding a place to work, to hold meetings. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to create unlimited business networking opportunities for people where you can invite them with digital video storytelling to meet you either on a Zoom call or at a coffee shop. And you can have larger groups at coffee shop. In fact, one of the things I teach is how to bring your phone or even a noise canceling headset to a coffee shop. Of course, Capital One, they're all different. Capital One gives us a private room, But in a louder one, you can actually have people wear their headsets and see a presentation, all sitting around at different tables, all on a Zoom call. So there's just, I wish there were just one answer, but that's the problem today. Everybody thinks that there's some one magic bullet that's going to solve all of the problems, and there just isn't. So what I do is I take a broader approach. I bring people along at the rate that they are ready to learn, and I help them. I try to keep the plane of education low, not high, because that's a problem. And really, I want to get them the overview. I offer it for free. Give them the overview and let them identify, do they want to learn? I found that everybody is different. They don't have one thing they want to learn about. They have multiple things or only one thing. And so I take that approach, and I bring them along. So I do boot camps on like, I'll spend a 4 hours boot camp just on Loom. We don't have 4 hours. So I can't really do the service, in this club, in this setting, in this webinar, right, of drilling down the way that I ordinarily drill down. I'll take one topic and really drill down into it. But, these sites have their own tutorials. I only use sites that have their own tutorials and really world-class support, so that the tools I use are basically things that people already have, because I'm about building the profitability wedge. It's not how much revenue you earn. I mean, I earned $1 million a year for 15 straight years, but it cost me $500,000 a year to do it. So I wanted to find a way to get the overhead down to next to nothing and still have unlimited profit potential. But there's just not one magic bullet out there. I wish there was, but I can't say that there is. I've never heard of one that's real, and that's the problem.
Mike, we have a couple of questions here.
Sure.
First one is from Mary, and she says, I'd like to have some idea of how to create a winning story.
Mary, that's simple. Join the free.
No. Give us an idea, a visual idea.
Well, okay, you have to have it right here. I mean, it's like, okay, what does your client want? That's number one. You got to know who your client is and what they really, really want, so that you can put your intent into the marketing. Okay, so you got to know who they are and what they want. That's number one. Number two, and most importantly, this whole thing that it's about your story, that's the number one myth. It's not your story. It is your client's story and the problem that they are having. So you have to understand exactly the problem your client is having, so that your stories become talking about how much you understand the problem your client is having. So that's a key. You want to be able to know what the problem is. And then you have to know what the obstacle is. What do they want? What is the obstacle that is keeping them from getting what they really want? And then next, your job in classic storytelling, let's use Star Wars, which everybody knows. Your client is Luke Skywalker. You have to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are not another hero. They're the hero. You got to let them be the hero. You are the guide with a plan. So then you have to tell them why you are the right guide with the right plan for them. And then what will happen if they choose to work with you? What will the outcome be like? What will they gain from hiring you? And exactly what call to action do you need them to take? Not kind of, don't make them figure it out. Don't make it a riddle. Don't try and be clever. Be very simple, straightforward, and it's got to be short and sweet with a clear call to action. Is it a direct call to action, or is it a transitional call to action? So my call to action is not direct. It is join the free public relations club, and then I can help you drill down into the places that you need to drill down. It's multifunctional. It's multifaceted. It's not one thing. I'm sorry, I wish it was, but I've researched the new gig economy for 5 years. I did a whole documentary on it. So we've shifted to a new digital economy, and it's changed. And the reason it's changed is because your customers have been changed by the internet. They are not the same people. So we have a sociological shift. If people are different, how they receive information, it's got to be much shorter and much faster.
Now, another question too from this is from Rick. Do you have a sample of one of your video invites, and how do you get it out to the public?
I do. You want me to play it right now?
Sure.
Okay. I have to stop the share and pull it up. Let's see. Where's my Chrome? Oh, here it is. And get that ready. And I didn't know you were going to ask me all these things, so
You said we'll wing it. That's what we're doing, right?
I didn't have it queued up, so here we are. Okay, here it is right here. Okay, so So here we go. Watch again. Are you good to go now?
Here
it is. You know, using public relations to get known and get found has changed in recent years because your customers have been changed by all of the online noise. Now, unless your message is short and crystal clear, it simply won't reach the minds of the people with whom you wish to connect. I'm Mike Hayes, founder of Storytelling Weekly, with this PR video news release about joining the free Public Relations Club for small businesses and nonprofits. Now, I don't think anyone will deny that the internet has been both a blessing and a curse when it comes to information. Shakespeare said everything in moderation, but the internet is not moderated. So any adult or even a child can add to the content clutter online. What's real, what's not. Now, I've been interviewing hundreds of business people who have used public relations successfully to get clients, to grow audiences, and connect in person with people in their neighborhood or even around the world. So I recognized how traditional public relations got broken by the internet, and I have a new plan to make it work for you with the new rules and tools of public relations. You see, PR video news releases have been the top tool for getting media attention for decades. But the problem is that between now and then, lights, camera, action videos were too slow to produce and too expensive to create them at the new speed of social media. The free Public Relations Club's updates like this and meetings, I'll explain what you need to become really your own TV station for your own PR story videos, how to get high Google ranking with them. So these PR video news releases will connect you with any audience every week, whichever one you want to connect on. Do you want to connect on Google My Business so you get higher search results? Or do you prefer LinkedIn or maybe Facebook groups or Meetup and much, much more? Wherever you want it to be, that's where your story can be. Now, folks, ask yourself, today, can you really afford not to register right now for our free Public Relations Club? It's for small businesses and nonprofits. You're going to discover much more than just another free training about online tools. Rather, it's about building a more vital community for all of us to join for free, and it always will be free. This is a place where we can share your stories and get you feedback to clarify your message, get better reviews online, and get found when people are searching for what you have to offer. Search is where 89% of purchases and transactions happen when people search. So you need to be there and be found. Online clutter and noise are hurting businesses, but you can beat it with our help because that's just not right. So join our public relations mission to help small businesses, nonprofits learn and use the new rules and tools of public relations. Click right on the button inside of this video. So if you, right there, hover your mouse over the video, you see the button, click on that, it'll take you right to our site, and you can just scroll down a little bit to the registration and register for free for updates and when the club is meeting and everything. So we'd love to have you join. Or if you want to talk to me directly, click on the link below. That's my online calendar, and that will help you to connect with me one-to-one directly, online or offline. So thanks for joining me. I look forward for you to register. Join us so we can kind of get the community started and help you to understand more about your public relations needs. Thanks. I'm Mike Hayes. And you click right here. That's the call to action. That takes you right to the website, and you scroll down and you just register right there. Now, one thing I wanted to show you here, I'll stop this share. One thing I wanted to show you is these are just some of the storytelling books that I study and tear apart and rip every sentence of information out of them. I mean, you know, notes, but I can't take all of that information and deliver it here in one meeting. I'm sorry, it just can't be done. So that's why I started the Free Public Relations Club, so that I can convey the information that people actually need, because I understand it and I know that it takes time to learn it, and I want to be there to help them learn it.
All right, Mike, you also have something called the Digital Ambassador. Can you tell us what that is and kind of dig into that a little bit?
Yes, the Digital Ambassador is it's a show that I started with my Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, Jay Lifson, Lafayette Chamber, to teach people how to bring every drop of blood out of their Chamber of Commerce membership. They don't understand, they don't know if being an ambassador costs money. A lot of younger people, millennials, the young professionals, they don't even know what a chamber is, or that it even exists, or what they can get out of it. So there has to be education about it. My little town of 25,000, we put on an art and wine festival that's attended by 100,000 people. You know, that's amazing. So, you know, people need to understand what a chamber does, how you can get the most out of it. And I was at Zoomtopia, and the CEO of LinkedIn was talking about the lost soft skills of networking. The internet has changed us. It's made us more introverted, more isolated. We've lost some social skills. And people don't understand the true value of the soft skills of interpersonal networking at chambers of commerce, at coffee shop meetings. And so there's a lot of things that we really have to learn to get this new digital economy working for us instead of against us. So the chambers, the digital ambassador, if the chambers love ambassadors, they're going to super love digital ambassadors who can know how to reach out to meetup groups. I use my meetup groups to invite people to my Chamber of Commerce mixers. And so, you know, the digital ambassadors can reach out. You can be an ambassador for yourself, for your business, for your chamber, for your church, for your meetup, or anybody else that you want to be a digital ambassador for, by understanding the basic components of outreach and how to, you know, reach out and tell the story about what you're doing.
Okay, so the digital part of it doesn't necessarily mean it's all online, or is there an actual plan that you? It's
always a fusion. I believe that you need both. I think one is, you know, a fraction is good without the other. I think you really need the combination of online storytelling and then some sort of offline meeting, whatever it is. So, you know, if it's a mixer, a meetup, a coffee shop meeting, but one way or the other, we need the fusion of the two. And it's like Seth Godin teaches, you really want to focus on the smallest viable audience. People are trying to go big and global immediately. They can't get traction. They're not understood. They're wasting a ton of time and money. So I wanted to help people mastermind these new ideas, get feedback from their peers, and avoid mistakes, basically, because they're getting oversold all kinds of different technologies, and many of them don't work. They don't understand it, and the gurus sell them, but they don't. There's no customer support. So it really needs to be a community, and I think that's what the Digital Ambassador program is all about. So I attended the chamber roundup of ambassadors, and every ambassador, every chamber is very interested in learning how to become a digital ambassador.
Okay, I'm still not clear on what it is. Maybe I'm because it's been a long day, but I still don't get it.
It's a Zoom meeting, and we talk about the chamber. So we talk with Chamber of Commerce executives. That's how it starts, about joining a chamber and about the benefits of belonging to a chamber. Then the second thing is what's it about being an ambassador? So why should you be an ambassador, and what do they do, and does it cost, or whatever? And then the third thing is, how can you become an ambassador that is more effective for your chamber by learning how to communicate in this new digital economy, and how it's changed, what the updates are, because people are confused. They're struggling to get new clients because they don't understand this sociological shift. It's almost like the shift from the agricultural age to the industrial age. Now we're in the new digital economy age, and you have to know how to transition to it. So we help the ambassadors to transition to understanding the digital world in which we all live and work today, so they can be more effective for the chambers to help them get more new members, basically, and add value to your Chamber of Commerce membership.
Okay, that then understand that it's a virtual type meeting, and I assume you're drawing from various areas as far as ambassadors in various chambers. But how do you build an audience for it?
Well, what I do is we want to build an audience for the webinar and the Zoom meeting, because Zoom is global, and can be a live stream, could be on YouTube Live, so it's unlimited. It's the huge basket that catches everything.
Oh, but how do you get an audience to it? That's my question. I know what it is.
Okay, the chamber invites them to it. So it says, do you want to learn how to get more out of it? It becomes a chamber event. So it is now, you got the credibility of the Chamber of Commerce, okay? And then with that credibility, when they're saying, hey, come to this meeting, we're going to teach you how to get the most out of the chamber. In fact, at the last one we had, they told me that a guy had walked in, and the recruiter said, well, sit down with me and let's watch this together. And as soon as the Digital Ambassador webinar was over, the guy signed up as a member immediately. So that's the goal, is to have a stage, basically a virtual stage, to be able to talk about chambers of commerce. It's so multifaceted. There's so many things you can get out of it, but if you don't take the time to learn them, you're just not going to know about them.
Okay, from that, now, how do you monetize that?
Well, through Chamber of Commerce membership. So you get, what you really want to do is grow the audience. That's what I've always been very good at, is growing large audiences, like I did for Fiverr. So you do the same things that we did for Fiverr to get more outreach for the Chambers of Commerce, so that you can grow the membership. And when you grow the membership, you're growing your own personal networking, you're growing your authority, you're becoming, like the May pole that everybody else dances around in your chamber, because you're the guy that really understands networking, outreach, doing business, online business, how to get found on search where 89% of transactions happen. These are things that you have to talk about: the education, the brown bag lunch programs, the lunch and learn programs, the mixers. How do you network at a mixer? How do you get the most out of it? There's so many things. So we just talk about all those things. It's real simple. We do it on on Zoom. So it's really simple, and it is basically just an interview process. So, I wanted the people to understand directly from the Chamber of Commerce what the best way to get the most out of your chamber is. If it's Google My Business or whatever it is.
Okay, Rick has another question here, and he says, are the attendees general members, existing ambassadors, non-members, or all of the above?
All of the above.
Okay.
Is there any small business, nonprofit, or entrepreneur that wants to get connected? And a lot of people, I don't know if you guys know this, there's an epidemic of isolation and loneliness in America. And in fact, London or England has a deputy of loneliness. So people are desperate for connectedness. They're desperate for being with other people, for a meeting. It's very, very important. In fact, I don't know if you guys know the networking platform called Nextdoor, but they just did a 5-part series on isolation and loneliness in America because we're in the digital age. So many people are working at home and they're lonely. So we want to show them that the chamber's like a piazza, like the old way where people used to come together and meet and share stories and war stories or new ideas or whatever. It's the coming together, breaking the isolation, breaking the loneliness. That's really our mission.
Okay. Now, as you draw them in, you would send like a notice to a chamber, and I can understand the value here. But I'm struggling with the attraction of the audience. So you send this notice to the chamber executive directors, or how's that outreach done?
Well, there's a couple of ways. We're a little bit different here in Northern California, maybe because Silicon Valley is just a few miles away. So what happens is this. If it is posted as a chamber event, that means that it goes out to, I think, 800 small businesses in the area. Okay, so that's one thing. Inviting them to learn more about the chamber and attend a Zoom meeting called the Digital Ambassador. But when it is posted as a chamber event out here, it is picked up by our chamber link. And that means it reaches out to 50,000 Chamber of Commerce members all over Northern California. So when you have the platform of the chamber, the credibility, the connectedness, and they're putting it out as a chamber event, then you've got a very credible, serious, one place to focus on, one place to come and, to learn about sales, learn about revenue generation, and sales solves all problems. So when you have revenue coming in, you're making sales, then you've solved all your problems.
So would you consider this somewhat of a chamber university?
That'd be a good way to put it. Chamber, academy. I guess we don't want to be another Trump university, so I'm not sure we can use that word, but we could call it a chamber academy. But yeah, that's really what it is to really teach people the value of being an ambassador, and that, until we can all go live in Amazon, we got to take care of our schools, our police, our potholes in our town. We've got to shop wisely. We've got to support each other. Who else is going to do it if we don't? So we have a mission here to focus on shopping wisely in our local city and explaining to people how much more money is kept in our community if you support the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. All right. I've got it. Now I know that you've got your coffee things and quite a few other things that you and I have discussed, but we're coming up on our 1 hour mark right now. So you want to put out some of your links that people can go to?
Yeah, you want me to just share it in the chat box?
That'll be fine. Sure.
Okay. Let's keep it simple. I just, you give people too much to focus on, they kind of miss everything. So let me just focus on free public relations clubs. So even if you are in, online marketing, everything that touches the public is part of public relations. And there are new rules and tools of public relations. So that is really what we teach in the Free Public Relations Club. Sorry, I'm not a fast typist.com. And then Mike, if you want to reach out to me directly, ask me questions. Big Ideas Expressed. I'm a visionary. I am an ideas guy, and I think that our country has some challenges, and I think we can solve them. And that's what I'm focused on, that big picture, that big mission.
Well, I can see that you definitely have some concepts that can make sense, that can work, and if they're understood and handled properly, that's the main thing right there.
Yeah, and I wanted to do this because I wanted the input of people like you, like Rick, and so that it can be shaped. And I can't be an expert at everything. That's why I became the network king, because I wanted to know people that know stuff. Certain things I'm very good at and certain things I'm not good at. So I'm not trying to say I'm the end all be all. On the contrary, I want a mastermind group where we can bring in masterminds, review what they have to offer, mastermind it, get feedback, avoid mistakes, see what fits for you. So this is designed to be inclusive, not exclusive.
Well, and that makes perfect sense. Before we sign off, any questions from anyone? You can unmute yourself and jump right in. Anybody got some questions for Mike?
Okay,
I think.
Well, join the club and you'll have more questions, I guarantee.
Yes, I have a question, Mike. When you mentioned the digital ambassador, from what I'm understanding, that is you.
Yeah.
It's not that you're creating digital ambassadors within a chamber.
Well, I am actually.
You are.
Yeah. I'm the digital ambassador, but I'm creating digital ambassadors. I want a whole army of ambassadors or evangelists or whatever you want to call them, who are out there telling the story about themselves, about their business, about the chamber, and how much you can use a Chamber of Commerce membership for your own personal branding. Okay. So, so I'd love to have millions of chambers of commerce digital ambassadors telling their stories and really thanking the chamber for any help that the chamber gives. So
has the chamber itself picked up on this concept where they've actually titled somebody a digital ambassador, or it's just a word that you use to help them grow the chamber?
Yeah, this is my branding term that I've used, and we are together launching all of this together. So a lot of this is still in beta, and that's fine. That's where we need to be to grow it. So the chamber is about me teaching their ambassadors how to use digital outreach to tell their story in the right place for them. Maybe in the chamber, email, it may be LinkedIn, Meetup, Facebook, wherever they're telling their story. That's what we want to do, is get them, wow, where'd you get that? Oh, through my chamber. We have a free public relations club. That's where I learned it. Great. So, it's all to make things go viral and to get, how important reviews are on Google My Business. Sure. We want to have a community that says, guys, these are really important. Let's help each other. Participate in helping us get more reviews on Google My Business.
No, I get it. I just didn't know if the chambers themselves have accepted that term, digital ambassador, and are beginning to assign people with that title, or you're just training everybody in a global way that they are more educated in public relationship and the new digital era?
Every chamber is different, and so some are more progressive, some are more conservative. They're all they're all different. So there's not one chamber of commerce. No, but my chambers and all the chambers around me are open to the digital ambassador program. They're supporting it. They're promoting it, and we are training them. But it does take time. Things don't just, it's not just bam like that. It does take time, and I'm willing to make the commitment because I've researched this. I don't see us going back to 401ks and full-time employees. This is the new, as I say about the new economy, new is the new.
No, I got you. But again, focusing on the specific question, if I called the Lafayette Chamber of Commerce in California and said, I'd like to speak to your digital ambassador, would they go like this? What?
No, they call them up.
They have an ambassador.
Call up. Yeah, it's me.
Oh, okay. Another chamber. I know you can't be all over at every time.
Right.
Chamber.
Well, no, I told my chamber, look, I want you guys to be ground zero for this. I want you to be the living laboratory of the Digital Ambassador Program, and they are. So, call them, and they'll talk about
I understand.
Whatever.
If they've given you that permission, then it doesn't make sense to call. But you're now developing that to bring it out to other chambers in your area.
Absolutely.
So that you can eventually assign a person with a skill set that you train to be a digital ambassador.
Absolutely.
And
it's scalable.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mike.
I have one quick question just before we leave.
Go.
Any reason you haven't put this up as a Facebook page and use the Facebook event to get your whole message out wider?
That is a really good question, but let me answer it the way I've talked to Chris about. I am not a Facebook guy. I'm a LinkedIn guy. I'm a Meetup guy, but we need help. So absolutely, and I am totally transparent on this topic. There's so much to learn today, and I want to give people the freedom to use whatever appeals to them. Just because I'm not an expert at Facebook doesn't mean, but you still can drop in the video storytelling into Facebook groups and all kinds of things. So I welcome everybody who wants to make this group grow and help chambers of commerce across the country, help grow our economy with, jobs locally, digital, ambassadors, but digital transactions online and, wherever they want to meet at. We workspaces or coffee shops. I'm all about saving people. The chamber gave me an office free, okay? I have my own workspace at the chamber. Workspace $500 a month, okay, if you to go on like WeWork or something. So that's why I came up with the idea of coffee shop networking. I want to help people. I don't care if they're out on the sidewalk and they got a great idea and they need to get started. I wanted to set the level of the threshold of entry as low as possible with still having unlimited potential for growth. So that's my focus. So I welcome Facebook experts. I'm just not one.
Mary, there's your job, Mary, right
There's
there.
my opportunity.
Yeah, you jump right in and you get up with Mike and say, okay, I'm your gal. Here we go.
Reach out, Mary. There's my contact information. Love to do a Zoom call one-to-one with you or anybody else on this call. One-to-one.
She lives north and west of you, as a matter of fact.
Ah, very good. Lafayette, California. We're about 30 minutes due east of San Francisco and about the same north of San Jose.
No, we're talking quite a ways north and east of you.
Like states away.
If you go straight up from San Francisco for a long ways, you'll find me.
Yeah, a long way, as a matter of fact.
A long ways.
Mike, you're going to have to brand a new hat for the Facebook bot ambassador for Mary.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I love my hats, guys. I got a ton of them. So if it's online digital networking, coffee shop networking, and I even have hair, but I still love my hats.
And if you notice, guys, he's a black hat guy. That's a.
Oh no, I'm not. I got a red hat over there, so I'm multicolored. So.
Now, black hat in the computer area is the bad guy, so to speak.
I know.
All right.
I'll have to get some white ones.
Mike, thank you so much for your time.
Good. I hope I drilled down enough. I did as much as I could for what I am doing. I'm like a trade show, and so I couldn't tell you everything that is in the trade show and drill down. I just wanted to make it available that I want to be a go-to place, and I want to embrace everybody and just help everybody to reach out.
That's fantastic. And you've given us a whole lot to think about. So
good.
A great deal of appreciation. And I know you and I will be in touch again very soon. So thank you, Mike. And
thanks, everybody.
Everybody, good to have you here today. And we will see you all very soon.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
all. Take care.